Here are the top stories of the news. 2 police officers killed as terrorists attack a police checkpoint in Kebbi State. Osun State Governor Ademola Adeleke urges journalists to serve as champions against election manipulation. And on the foreign scene, Tehran residents see worst night as Israel launches fresh strikes on Iran on 7th day of conflict. Good afternoon and welcome to Spring News at 12 on Western Spring Television. I am Femi Ojo. Suspected members of the Lakurawa armed group on Thursday attacked a police checkpoint at Lakurawa Gunmen in Bagudo local government area of Kebbi State, killing 2 police officers on duty. The gunmen stormed the Lakurawa Gunmen checkpoint, overpowered the policemen, and set the tent used by the officers ablaze. Confirming the incident to journalists on Friday, the Kebbi State Police Public Relations Officer SP Bashir Usman said 2 policemen lost their lives during the attack. The latest attack is the 3rd reported incident along the Lakurawa Gunmen border corridor, an area that has witnessed repeated security breaches in recent months. Meanwhile, troops of Operation Heightened have neutralized several terrorists, including some of their key leaders, during midnight attacks, while the insurgents attempted to overrun 4 military locations across Borno State. The attacks, which lasted for over 5 hours between Thursday and Friday, occurred around Konduga, Mate, Jakana, and Minak. The assaults were confirmed in a statement on Friday morning by the Media Information Officer of the Joint Task Force Northeast Operation Adinkai, Lieutenant Colonel Sani Uba. In a well-coordinated response, he said troops executed simultaneous flanking maneuvers alongside reinforcement teams drawn from sectors 1 and 2, decisively routing the attacking terrorists and forcing them into disorganized withdrawals. And in Ebonyi State, the government has ordered the destruction of all shrines and deities in the Amasiri local community of Afipo local government area over its complicity in a recent violent conflict. Inwifuru gave the order for the demolition of the shrines and deities in a statement signed by his Chief Press Secretary Monday Uzo on Friday after an enlarged state security meeting on Thursday. Amasiri was recently involved in a renewed land dispute with neighboring Okorojo in the Osol community of Eda local government area. The dispute led to several deaths and the destruction of several properties. The killings assumed a gruesome dimension, with the attackers beheading 4 of the victims and escaping with the severed heads. Governor Nwifuru had imposed sanctions on Amasiri, including the sacking of his political appointees, the dethronement of his traditional rulers, the imposition of a curfew, and the closure of schools, among others. A new era begins for the Nigerian Police Force as Acting Inspector General Police Olatunji Disu officially takes the reins as the 23rd Indigenous Inspector General Police, succeeding Kayode Egbetokun, who resigned in February. Gift Oladipo takes a closer look at the man set to now lead the charge against internal insecurity. And here is the report.
Born on the 13th of April 1966, in the city of Lagos, joined the Nigerian police on May 18, 1992, as a cadet assistant superintendent. Over the course of his career, he has served as Divisional Police Officer (DPO) in several locations, including Agoiwoye in Ogun State, Ikare and Owo in Ondo State, as well as Rivers State. He served as the commander of the Lagos State Rapid Response Squad (RRS) between June 13, 2015 and August 2021. It was during this period that DSU named its officers the Good Guys, a move that helped reformed officers to enforce the law responsibly yet remain friendly to citizens while carrying out their activities. Over the years, DSU has held critical operational, investigative, and strategic command positions nationwide. His last position was as an Assistant Inspector General of Police in charge of the police of the Special Protection Unit and the 4th CID, Annex Lagos. On the 24th of February 2026, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu appointed Olatunji Disu Rilwan as the Acting Inspector General of Police, succeeding Kayode Egbetokun after his resignation. President Tinubu, during the decoration ceremony, expressed confidence in Disu's ability to restore public confidence in the police force, while recanting his personal knowledge of him from the tenure as Lagos State Governor.
This decision for you to assume this responsibility, because I know your record. I believe in dedication that you've exhibited while you were in Lagos and I was the governor of Lagos State. And now you assume this responsibility at a defining moment for our nation's security, and expect you to strengthen the discipline, enhance interagency collaboration, and restore public confidence in Nigerian police.
In response, Disu promised to justify the confidence reposed in him, vowing to end impunity and enforce zero tolerance for corruption within the force. Speaking at the handover, he noted that his tenure will be built on 3 clear commitments: professionalism, modernism, and accountability. However, the appointment of Disu as Inspector General of Police by President Tinubu represents more than a routine leadership transition. It arrives at a moment when Nigerians' internal security challenges have reached a high level of complexity.
We are very ready, and we have always supported state police because it will reduce the burden on the federal government and it will make us more responsive and more responsible as state governors, although it is expensive. But certainly it is something that must be done because security of safety of life and property is the main thing that we can provide. I have seen the importance of security in my state because we have had a lot of security good situation where some micro and macroeconomic activities are going on, and it has really raised the GDP.
On the 2nd of March, the Nigerian Police Council, NPC, at its council meeting confirmed Disu as the substantive Inspector General of Police, formally ratifying his appointment as Nigeria's 23rd Inspector General of Police.
He went through his records, his performance in office, and the recommendation, and the council was glad to approve the recommendation for him to be appointed the Inspector General of Police.
On numerous occasions, President Tinubu has promised that his administration will create state police as part of the measures to address the country's insecurity. And on Wednesday, Disu inaugurated an 8-member committee to oversee the implementation of state police and the rollout of his policing vision following his confirmation as the 23rd indigenous IGP.
Following my assumption of office as the Inspector General of Police, this gathering marks not just the beginning of a new administrative phase, but the opening of a defining chapter in the life of our institution. Leadership, it has been said, is not about position. Not about the position one occupies, but the responsibility one accepts. Today, I stand before you fully conscious of the weight of this responsibility and the high expectation of our officers, our nation, and Nigerian people.
While the IGP's profile offers a promising roadmap for reform in Nigerian police, the ultimate measure lies in the day-to-day experience of Nigerians.
They staying on the road for them to collect 1, 2, 3 naira from people is an extortion. They should stop all those things. We believe the new Inspector General of Police will be able to do that for us in this country.
The new IG should look into this issue of insecurity very, very well.
across Nigeria, insurgency, banditry, organized crime, cyber threats, separatist agitations, and rising urban criminality intersect with youth unemployment and declining public trust in state institutions. In this environment, leadership of the Nigerian police force is no longer merely administrative, it is strategic and deeply symbolic. Gift Oladipo, Western Spring Television.
Turning to politics, the candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Bola Oyebamiji, has picked the 2023 House of Representatives candidate for the party for Ife Federal Constituency election, Benjamin Aderiti, as his running mate in the 2027 governorship poll. Aderiti, who lost the 2023 election to Bimbo Jilisoro, then of the People's Democratic Party (PDP), replaced ex-state lawmaker Tunde Olatunji, who was listed in the previous list released by the Independent National Electoral Commission. Also on the list released by ANEC, ex-speaker of the Osun State House of Assembly, Najim Salam, contesting the governorship poll. The platform of the African Democratic Congress (ADC) chose a female running mate, Yemisi Agiri. The incumbent governor, Ademola Adeleke, retained his current deputy, Kola Adeusi, as his running mate on the platform of Accord. The Osun State governorship poll will hold on August 15, with 14 political parties cleared for the poll. However, notable among political parties that have no candidate for the poll include the People's Democratic Party and the Labour Party. In the meantime, Governor Ademola Adeleke of Osun State has called on journalists and media practitioners to ensure balanced news coverage and maintain zero tolerance for fake news, the discharge of their duties. The governor made the call while addressing members of the Nigerian Union of Journalists, Osun State Council, led by the new chairman Adeyemi Abodere and the secretary Olalekan Akindoju, during a costly visit in Osogbo. Governor Adeleke, who emphasized the need for professionalism and strict adherence to the ethics of the journalism profession, charged media practitioners to serve as champions against election manipulation, particularly as the state prepares for the August 15, 2025 governorship election. He stressed that credible journalism remains vital to sustaining democracy. The governor called on the NUJ to partner with the state government in promoting development and deepening democratic values. In his remarks, the Osun NUJ Council Chairman Abodere said the visit had two main purposes: to introduce the newly elected executive members of the council and to appreciate the governor for his administration's support towards the development of journalists in the state. He also implored the governor to consider the permanent employment of freelance journalists with the Osun State Broadcasting Corporation (OSBC), urging continued assistance to journalists across the state. And speaking at the event, the Osun Commissioner for Information and Public Enlightenment, Kola Pualimi, disclosed that the state government maintained a neutral stance throughout the NUJ election and added that the seizure of local government funds had made it difficult for the state government to fulfill some obligations.
I have listened attentively to several programs and initiatives you listed out. Those proposals provide a strong platform between the government and the NUJ. I am therefore directing the Commissioner for Information and my spokesperson to work with the NUJ to implement those ideas. Our government will adopt the initiative as standing partnership project between the NUJ and the government. On this note, please permit me to task the media to remain a strong vanguard against fake news and disinformation. As Osun is nearing a new election cycle, I urge media practitioners to uphold professionalism and ethics of the profession.
I will say that we have never had it so good under your administration. And we are here to re-establish the collaboration between current profession members of the media profession in Osun State and your administration on the way to forge ahead, most especially This year being a governorship election year in Osun State, we want to look at ways of collaborating with government in order to ensure that the upcoming election is devoid of rancor, is devoid of manipulation.
We are here to it that some people are using federal rights to make sure that they want to strangulate us with issue of resources. They know our company is a performing one, and they can tell the fact that it's performing. They now discover that, okay, what would they do to make sure that this performing governor will not be able to perform to the best of his ability. That's why they are doing what they are doing.
Now to legal matters. The Federal High Court sitting in Abuja has discharged an accused at Abakari, suspended Deputy Commissioner of Police of a 23-count charge bordering on the alleged non-declaration of assets filed against him by the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA. Kyari was charged alongside his two brothers, who were accused of swearing to false affidavits in an alleged attempt to conceal the origin of some properties. In his judgment, Justice James Omotosho held that the NDLEA failed to provide sufficient evidence to prove the allegations against the defendants, particularly regarding the alleged non-declaration of landed properties. Justice Omotosho noted that the prosecution failed to present any of these forms of evidence to establish that the properties located at Fountain Estate, Katsana, which belonged to Ramatu Kyari, were actually owned by Abba Kyari. In his defense, Kyari maintained that the properties in Borno State belonged to his late father, who left them for him and his siblings. The court held that the prosecution failed to prove otherwise. You're watching Spring News at 12 on Western Spring Television. We'll be right back after this break. Stay with us.